Winter 1004. A vast Khitan cavalry force thunders across northern China, driving relentlessly toward the Yellow River and the ultimate prize beyond it, the Song capital. At the tip of this feared mounted army rides the vanguard commander, Liao General Xiao Talin. He is a battle-hardened veteran leading one of the most terrifying military forces in medieval Asia. Confident, aggressive, unstoppable, he presses his advantage with ruthless efficiency, relying on the speed and devastating shock power that had humiliated Song armies on the open battlefield for decades. Then, on the fortified walls of Shanzhou, a trigger is pulled. In a split second, a heavy crossbow bolt tears through the freezing air. A sniper shot from extraordinary range. It strikes General Xiao Talin dead in his saddle. This was no lucky shot from a lone marksman. It was a lethal demonstration of military engineering fired from a weapon crafted in state-run arsenals that produced arms in systematic, bureaucratically managed quantities that no other civilization on Earth could match. Instantly, the Khitan offensive stalls. Deprived of their veteran commander, the invincibility of the steppe vanguard vanishes. Peace negotiations begin, and through diplomatic maneuvering, the Song dynasty buys itself another generation of survival. But they did not achieve this triumph by matching the enemy's deadly cavalry in open battle. They survived by out-manufacturing the very weapons designed to destroy it. The Song dynasty, which ruled China from 960 to 1279, represents one of history's greatest paradoxes. It was indisputably the wealthiest and most technologically sophisticated state of its era. This was the golden civilization that gave humanity the world's first printed books, paper currency, and magnetic compass navigation. Its cities vibrated with commerce, its scholars advanced science, and its industrial output reached unprecedented heights. Yet, despite its immense wealth and intellectual supremacy, the Song spent nearly its entire three-century existence on the strategic defensive. From its inception, the empire was trapped in a perpetual existential struggle against a succession of formidable northern steppe powers. First, the Khitan Liao, then the Jurchen Jin, and ultimately the unstoppable force of the Mongols. Each of these nomadic empires possessed a military asset that the Song chronically lacked: horses. In the medieval Eurasian landscape, cavalry was the undisputed monarch of the battlefield. A swift, heavy charge of mounted warriors possessed the shock power to shatter enemy ranks, flank foot soldiers, and control vast territories. But the Song were geographically crippled. Cut off from the prime horse-producing pastures of the northwest, the empire faced a devastating shortage of war mounts. At the absolute peak of the Northern Song period, state pastures managed to raise only about 200,000 horses, a staggering collapse compared to the height of the Tang dynasty, which fielded over 700,000 mounts. Without access to the vast steppe lands, cavalry on the scale fielded by their northern enemies was simply impossible for Song China to maintain. In an open field, a direct cavalry battle against nomadic riders meant absolute disaster. Fundamentally different strategy was required. And so, Song strategists built one from the ground up, forged from iron, carved from wood, bound with silk, and governed by an institutional bureaucracy unlike anything the world had ever seen. The answer the Song devised was not a single miracle weapon or a temporary tactical gimmick. It was a complete, integrated warfare system, deprived of the open country offensive mobility that cavalry provided. Song planners invested heavily in the ultimate combination of infantry, heavy fortifications, and long-range firepower. They fortified river crossings and mountain passes with extraordinary engineering precision, turning natural landscapes into lethal choke points. They developed and deployed early gunpowder weapons, fire, arrows, explosive bombs, and incendiary devices, decades before any other civilization on Earth had integrated gunpowder into organized military doctrine. They constructed a powerful war navy, converting China's vast networks of rivers and canals into insurmountable defensive barriers. And at the center of this defensive doctrine, they armed their foot soldiers with a weapon that, when massed, could bring a charging cavalry formation to a dead stop. The crossbow, manufactured at a scale that defies imagination. To understand how the Song dynasty turned crossbows into a civilization-saving war machine, must look past the battlefield and into the cold, calculating heart of imperial bureaucracy. The physical barrier to entry for a crossbow was revolutionary. A traditional war bow required a lifetime of relentless physical conditioning. Warriors spent years building the specific muscle groups needed to draw a 100-pound bow in battle. A nomadic horse archer was bred to it from childhood. But a crossbow changed the human equation entirely. While operating one still demanded discipline, skill, and rigorous drill, physical threshold was dramatically lower. A peasant recruit could be transformed into a deadly missile trooper, or moin, a fraction of the time it took to raise a single unit of enemy cavalry. Behind these weapons stood an industrial infrastructure unlike anything the medieval world had ever conceived outside of China. Emperor Taizu, a former general who understood the vital importance of military logistics, established the famed northern and southern armories in the capital city of Kaifeng. Here, weapons and armor production followed strict, unyielding protocols. As the celebrated Song statesman Zheng Gong meticulously recorded, all weapons and body armor were stored across 5 designated, heavily fortified arsenals. The sheer quality and craftsmanship of these arms far surpassed anything seen in recent antiquity. These were not decentralized cottage workshops operating on feudal obligations, or localized blacksmiths hammering out swords on demand. They were centrally directed, quota-driven, officially inspected state manufacturing facilities. Every single process was coordinated by a specialized military bureaucracy that tracked production outputs with the rigorous precision of a modern logistics operation tracking inventory. Government armories manufactured weapons in staggering volumes. Tons of millions of precision arrowheads were crafted every single year, along with armor components manufactured by the tens of thousands. Official Song records document a mind-boggling annual output. Roughly 32,000 complete suits of iron armor, paired with combined bows, crossbows, and arrows numbered in the tens of millions. These were figures that no contemporary European state, no matter how wealthy, could even dream of approaching. Through the fragmented, decentralized workshop economies of feudal military supply. In 1044, this massive military-industrial apparatus was formally codified into text, with the publication of the military compendium known as the Wujing Zongyao, the complete essentials for the military classics. It stood as one of the earliest, comprehensive, state-directed military manuals ever produced in human history. The Wujing Zongyao systematically documented every aspect of the war effort: exact crossbow blueprints, complex field formations, volley fire tactics, and precise chemical formulas for early gunpowder weapons. According to the Wujing Zongyao, when deployed in mass formation, crossbow was classified as the single most effective weapon in existence against the terrifying charges of northern nomadic cavalry. The battlefield, Song crossbowmen executed disciplined rotating volley formations. One rank fired their bolts into the oncoming mass, while a second rank stepped forward to aim, and a third rank reloaded in the rear. This created a near-continuous, uninterrupted hail of deadly steel-tipped bolts, a wall of kinetic energy that even heavily armored cavalry horses could not simply absorb or push through. Yet, this staggering output of weaponry was only possible because of a massive industrial foundation beneath it: iron. The Song economy produced over 100 million kilograms of iron products per year. Crucially, an 11th century industrial breakthrough shifted blast furnaces from charcoal to coal, making production sustainable and preventing the catastrophic deforestation that would have otherwise crippled output. China's annual output of pig iron eclipsed what England's entire iron industry would produce 7 centuries later, at the end of the 1700s. The weapons filling imperial arsenals were not just clever engineering. They were the product of a true industrial energy revolution happening inside a medieval dynasty. This defensive warfare system sustained a civilization for 3 centuries against brutal invaders who consistently held the upper hand in cavalry warfare. While it could not ultimately save the Song from the relentless rise of the Mongols, who eventually adapted to siege tactics and brought their own engineers and gunpowder to bear, succeeded in keeping China's most culturally and technologically sophisticated dynasty alive long enough to gift humanity printing, the magnetic compass, paper currency, and the industrial logic of state-directed manufacturing centuries before the rest of the world caught up.